Football is weird. Bournemouth managed to lose games against Leicester and Brentford, yet games against Arsenal, Villa and Man City, we win 2 of them and draw the other. So as the dust settles on another Premier League window of fixtures, an international break awaits. So on this second look, we're going to take a look at a harem-scarem match at the G-Tech Community Stadium. A roller coaster of a match that their fans will probably be used to this season. Their latest ride finished the Bees 3, Cherries 2. We need to talk about it. Welcome to Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
This is an AFC Bournemouth fan channel, and if you're watching on YouTube, you could do us a couple of favours.
Yeah, click the big fat like button. Really appreciate that. Leave a little comment in there as well. It's always nice to see. Hit the bell, hit the big fat subscribe one as well, and do all that good stuff, and we'd really appreciate it.
Let us know where you're from. I'd love to know where you're watching from, because we have people watching from all over by the sounds of it. I want to hear some really obscure town names across the globe. And look, if you're listening on the podcast, we'd appreciate it if you left us a review. 5 stars, if you will. Before we begin, need to talk about AFC Bournemouth women who played yesterday at Dean Court. They absolutely smashed Swindon 4-0 in a top-of-the-table clash at Dean Court. Some really good goals. And by the way, one hell of a turnout as well. 6,054 people saw it, and it was a really, really good performance. We're actually looking at the league table now, unbeaten. They've won 8-8, and Tom, they're looking set to win that league if they carry on their form, which is unbeaten in like 600 or so days.
Yeah, it's crazy, and if I didn't realise they've obviously got 2 games down on Swindon as well, and only a point behind, so should be self-explanatory. Obviously, there's always a few bumps, but they look like the top side of that league, and I'm not being funny, the team that looked closest to them just got beat 4-0, so sounds like it was relatively comfortable, which is good to see. A few goals in there. I think, was it Kate James got a couple? Yeah, he's doing well. So it's good to see, mate, and should be there. I mean, they should have gone up last year.
Yeah.
They really?
I know. Just that game against Exeter.
Yeah.
But a goal from Molly Barron-Clark as well. Erin Bloomfield obviously scored the pen as well. But if you went and saw that like we did, amazing stuff. On to the men though, and lots to talk about, Tom, because whilst we're frustrated with the result, it is, in my mind, probably the best example you can have of losing a game whilst playing Iraola-Ball, because it's exciting. We of course emerged with no points, but it was fun. We left ourselves exposed. We scored some really good goals. We were definitely entertained, right? Yeah,
we were. I think it was pretty similar to most games we see under Iraola. I think on this occasion, obviously, we didn't score enough goals. We probably didn't test the keeper enough. But I think defensively, we probably had a little bit of an off one. Whereas against some of the big boys recently, I think when we've been beaten in them transitions, and we've been just as open. Yeah. But the 2 centre halves, and I thought everyone's just been really on it, and we just dipped a little bit in the Premier League against a team that are obviously unbeaten at home. You're going to get punished, and we were, mate. So, but I enjoyed it. They just had a little bit of an edge. I think overall a draw probably was fair, but fair play to Brentford. They're got that home form for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And look, the nature of being a football fan means that when your team does lose, we are going to take a look at the reasons why that happened. But we need to make it clear there are no Bournemouth fans that are throwing their toys out of the pram after our recent run of games, because it's been absolutely superb. But we can be irritated by the loss, of course. And on this pod, we'll probably go down a number of different avenues to examine where the problems might have been. But also, we do want to heap praise on certain moments in the game, and there were some, Tom, not least set-piece brilliance once again. Yeah,
again, really nice to see, really well worked. Evan Nilsson scoring again is really big for us. That's 3 and 3 for him. And even you could go on to Justin as well scoring again, which is because he scored the penalty, but scoring from that corner was really good. And there were some good performances out there. I think Tyler Adams, he's obviously a different type of midfielder, but I thought he come through the hour or so that he played really well, and looks like a top player, and kind of relieved to see that he didn't get in the America squad, because he obviously he's come back too quickly, which is nice. But there were still good performances out there, mate. It was just a few ad off days, and it transpired that they won the game, and they had Visser in particular really on it, which helped them. So is what it is.
It's funny because we were all looking at Mbeumo before the game thinking he's their danger man, which of course he is. He scored in the previous 5 home games, I think, at the G-Tech. And this is one where he didn't, but it took the focus away from him, and then Wisser stepped up and put in a couple of goals. And look, this is where the league table is at, if you're listening on the pod. AFC Bournemouth are in 12th. It's a story of what-ifs, really, because you showed me the league table during the first half. After we'd gone 1-0 up, I think we were 7th at one stage. And what I can say about that league table, it's one of the most exciting after 11 games you've probably seen in quite a while. I mean, the gap between 3rd and 13th, mate, only 4 points. So, wow.
I know every club will do this and go, what about, right, Leicester, we should have won. Right? No, we should have beaten Leicester.
Yeah.
So we're doing it with a Bournemouth slant, of course. But why not? Right, Newcastle, that's like 2 points. Yeah. So what's that put you on? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. And then we should have, and then if we had beaten Brentford, hung on.
And maybe got a point against Chelsea, say, because obviously we missed a penalty. They scored. That's another point. We'd be in 3rd place now.
No, we'd be over 23, wouldn't we?
Would we?
Yeah, because look, we're on 15. Plus 3 Brentford, plus 3 Leicester, plus 2 Newcastle. We could be in a title race. So it's frustrating. But then, obviously, jokes aside, the Everton comeback was ridiculous. That might not have happened. How many times are you going to beat City? We had to be right on it. Obviously, there's a red card in the last game. So it all kind of is what it is. I mean, we see that all the time. We even saw that this weekend. I think we saw not so long ago how all the decisions seem to be going against Wolves.
Yeah.
And then when they got their first win, the decisions went for Wolves. Yeah. It kind of works itself out in the end. So, frustrating with some of the games, but equally delighted with some of the moments we have. I wouldn't swap them, mate. The late limbs at Everton, beating Arsenal, beating City for the first time. I wouldn't swap them, mate. So,
it's mad though. Like, when you think about it though, away from home, we've actually been quite poor.
Yeah, because we've only beaten Everton.
Yeah, and so we played well in 10 minutes. Yeah. We did play well for a good period of time. Yeah, good point. Against Brentford, but alas, they scored more goals. I don't think we're going to do the baseline tracker too much longer, but this is where it's at the moment. This shows how messed up it is, because Brentford are on -2 and we're on +9. But that's partly because Brentford's away form has been so utterly poor. But that's where we're at.
Their fixtures at home have been against all of them as well, haven't they? Not any of them. Yeah, that's why. So, I mean, Sam can keep plugging out the baseline tracker if he wants. I don't mind it as long as we're in that top 3. You can keep bringing it up, mate.
We all chatted at the pub beforehand, though, and I said to Ben, look, I wouldn't be surprised if anything happens today. And anything did happen in the game because it was helter-skelter. They won, so they were leading at the end, obviously, transpired to win. We were leading, lots of goals, errors, everything. But we're all saying it'd be so Bournemouth if we lose this, and that's what happened.
Well, apparently, it's
annoying, isn't it?
I can't even remember this because I chat so much crap about football all the time. But someone commented on one of our recent videos and said that apparently after Arsenal, I said, we'll get a point of Villa, we'll beat City and we'll lose to Brentford. Apparently I said that. I can't remember saying it, so I'm not clear. That's what someone put on the comments. But it sounds like something I would say kind of like it'd be so Bournemouth, but not actually genuinely believing it, or did I?
If you can find that clip, can you send us an email? Fans at AFCBpodcast.com, send us the video link and also the timestamp, because we'll put it on our socials.
Because it will look good for me.
It will look amazing.
But I think a lot of people say it is so Bournemouth will lose to Brentford. But that's a little bit disrespectful to Brentford, I think, because it's not on them that we played City, Arsenal, Villa in a row. But so it makes you think Brentford should be the easy one. Brentford are top of the league at home. But they're
such a weird watch because they're really open. They were exposed at times, but they just score more goals.
Yeah, we've played Brentford a lot in recent times, and I've never come away with it thinking, God, they're good, but they always win. Yeah. We never beat them. So they've got something there. I think I said this on the preview. I think they're very efficient. I think Thomas Frank is a very good coach. Not that likeable, but a very good coach. And he gets the best out of a group that on paper, a lot of people would say, they're going to be near the bottom. If you look at them individually, we know what that's like, Brentford fans, and them players, you see them every week. And I think a lot of them are underrated. And they're a very efficient side. And they were always a threat in the game. And actually, apart from the start of the game where I thought we were all over them, then I thought in the second half once they got ahead, I think they limited us to very little.
There was no way back in. And then, look, they did that against Fulham for the large part of that game. Yeah. And it was just Harry Wilkinson's 2 incredible efforts that won the Cottagers the points.
Always said we should have signed him.
Always said that. So we'd never won at the G-Tech. We'd not won in a number of London visits. In fact, only 3 of the last 22 London visits, conceding 2 on 17 of those occasions. So the stats weren't looking good. But look, we were just looking forward to an entertaining game, just seeing what happens. And look, we're in the pub before the game, 1 over the 8. Nice pub, that.
Very nice. Yeah, I really like that.
Spenny.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't eat. I had some of your nachos, Fred. You couldn't finish them. It was a good portion, to be fair.
It was a good portion. I mean, Rich had some kind of burger, which was 17 quid, and he sort of looked at mine when it came over. Like nachos the size of a house, honestly.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish them all, so I was like handing them out and stuff. But apart from that, a lovely pre-match vibe, not too busy that we liked. And we were joined by the brother of a certain Cherry superstar, Divine, brother of Antoine Semenyo, who chatted, and I said to him, look, he's doing all right, isn't he, Antoine? He said, all right, that's a bad word. He's doing amazing. I was like, yeah.
I said that as like, because obviously you don't really know my sarcasm, and he went, oh, you like Antoine? Like as a joke, and I don't think he's. And then I went, no, by the way, I love him. Tell him never to leave. But yeah, no, that was nice bloke. And and then we just waited for the old teams to come out, and
then they did. Antoine was starting, but there were maybe a couple of surprises, I suppose.
Yeah, for us, for them, quickly, I got one wrong, didn't I believe? I called the change. I said Ruislev won't play.
Yeah.
But I didn't call them bringing Jensen in. I thought Aya might be fit, but he wasn't. Apart from that, they were as expected. But yeah, we took out Travers, which was a very big surprise. Nothing on Kepa, good goalkeeper. Didn't do anything wrong before he got an injury. But yeah, it was just weird for Travers to come out after how good he's been. And then he took Tav out, and I looked at that and thought, okay, I think he's obviously Tyler Adams started the game. I think he thought without Cine, without Dango, if I then start Tav instead of Adams, I've got no attacking legs on the bench.
No impact. Yeah.
So I think he just took one of them out for that reason. And it was a good opportunity to see Adams and Kirk and Christie a little bit higher up. And early on in the game, which I'm sure we'll come on to, I thought he looked really good. And I like them three in there. And I think that'll be something we do use in the future. But also now, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. It's good that we got some minutes out of Tyler Adams because Christie got his 5th yellow.
Yeah.
So Adams probably going to have to start the next game against Brighton because we're without Alex Scott as it is.
You sort of get why certain changes have to be made for outfield players. Maybe Andoni chose to make certain changes because of how the opposition's set up, maybe, but it doesn't usually happen with goalkeepers, does it, that much? And it felt to me, and we'll go on to the full Kepa conversation later on, we don't want to scapegoat at all, but there's just, I don't know, some quandaries going through our heads about how players are selected, because Travers must have been oozing with confidence after two incredible performances recently. I mean, the one at Villa, he was superb. Villa fans were talking about him. And then against Man City, I don't think he did anything wrong. I thought he was great, and he nearly saved the Guardiola header. So I just wonder what message that put out to him.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Kepa would be included. Is it a fact that the conversation's been had that Kepa, you're our number one this season?
Yeah, I think what's happened is, Kepa's number one, Travers was number two. And as Andoni alluded to, Kepa was never dropped. Kepa was doing well. Kepa wasn't dropped. He got an injury, and now he's fit. He's back. He's my number one. And I think it was kind of less that Travers was dropped and more that Kepa's never done anything wrong. So he just goes back in. I think my frustration with it wasn't like Travers come in and done a decent job. Travers come in and was outstanding. So yeah, that. I didn't really get that. And then when you got an international break, you can kind of just, you can word it how you want, but kind of go, we got break round the corner, you've had a little injury. Travers has been sensational. We'll just play him for this Brentford game. You've got an extra few weeks to get yourself fully fit again, and you'll come back in for the Brighton game. But yeah, no, he didn't do it. And I wasn't concerned with Kepa coming in at all. Kepa's a good goalkeeper, and I still think that. But yeah, it just baffles me. It's a larger point, I think. Nothing on Kepa, but we've had a lot of goalkeepers now come in, massive wages that we're bringing in the football club, and all of them make mistakes because every goalkeeper does. Travers has made mistakes, but why don't we just give the bloke that we've already got here an opportunity? Because the only time he's ever had a sustained period in the side was in the Championship, and he was our best player. He was a player of the season.
They obviously feel as though he's not good enough, but in my mind, over the last sort of 3, maybe 4 seasons, probably our most consistent keeper has been Travers, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, he's come
made
in,
mistakes, of course.
Yeah, of course, but he's come in for little periods, and he's never been any worse than what we had. Yeah, so it's strange to me. It does feel a little bit like, because he's Mark Travers, Irish backup goalkeeper. Like,
I tell you what, Ireland are in a good place with their keepers, aren't they?
Kelleher there as well.
Wow, exactly.
Maybe they can get even stronger and Darren Randolph can come out of retirement.
Maybe. But look, we all got behind the boys, of course. 3 o'clock kickoff. A little bit of turn the page for you with the streets before kickoff, mate. Did you hear that?
No.
You probably weren't up in time.
I come up. I was up before it kicked off.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit before.
Yeah, and I thought, have they not done it?
It was only a brief little flirt with the song, which we always love that. But Bournemouth started well, mate. Bournemouth started really, really well. I thought.
We're brilliant. It felt like, because obviously where we are, it just felt like everything was down the other end.
I did wonder how the game was going to go, because obviously they're a team that over the last 4 games on Matt's stats, as we said in the preview, they haven't had much of the ball. They've always had the lesser proportion, as have we. So we would probably get more of it. I don't know. So I didn't think they was going to particularly change their style against us. They didn't. And we had a lot of the ball. And I tell you what, Ryan Christie, mate. So is it like Georgie Best or Diego Maradona with the ball? My God.
Some of his footwork early on,
He did that last season, do you remember? Where Semenyo, I think it was Solanke that ended up having the shot, but he jinked, and then that was in front of us, this time up the other end. And from this position, we're looking at where he started with the ball. Like, there's no way that he's running through and getting a shot on goal. It was a kind of shot come crossing. So I think it went out for a throw.
That's Christie, isn't it? That is so Chris. And you said Maradona, George Best. I'm going to go one step further. It reminded me of Mark Pugh. That's how good it was. But if you want to sum Christie up, it's hassling, getting the ball, being amazing, and then out for a throw-in is so Ryan Christie. But and brilliant. What was really nice, as I kind of mentioned earlier, was the fact that we started in this way and Christie just looked like, banging that 10. And I said previously, actually, because there's been a lot of talk about when Adams comes back, if he is brilliant, or when Scott comes through even, how are we going to fit him all in? Because you can't get rid of Lewis Cook, obviously. And I've always said that I think he will look at Christie a bit further forward. And I know people say he don't get the goals, but his press is so good. That I think he'll be just as effective, if not more effective, higher up the pitch.
It's almost, that kind of middle three. I'm talking about the two midfielders and the number 10. It's almost like there's an order of priority in terms of who's going up the pitch. Now, Cook would usually be, the anchor. It seems like Tyler Adams was in that role. Cook was then moved slightly forward. Christie moved slightly forward. And I think it seemed to work. I mean, we were producing plenty of shots early doors. Semenyo cutting from the right had a powerful shot, which was, palmed away. But after that, I noticed they sort of tended to maybe double up on Semenyo, so he didn't have as many chances after that. But he certainly showed that it could be a menace on that side as well. And we had other chances. Marcus Senesi, mate.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realise how big a chance it was till I saw it back. It was a bit glaring. He just kind of come in and hit it with it was coming at pace, I suppose, but and Senesi.
I mean, look at this angle here, you think I think he hit it with the outside of his foot. Yeah, and was the half volley?
It was his right foot as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it just, really?
I think if you're from an outsider's perspective, you're going, well, it is your centre off, but Senesi scored so many goals like that. Yeah. Senesi's an attacking threat from set pieces, so I kind of was quite happy that it fell to him. And unfortunately that he's been an absolute, colossus for us. He's been brilliant lately, but I felt Senesi that kind of described his whole game. He had an off day. He had a really off day.
One thing that I noticed, and a few other people's did on forums and stuff, is that corner was had to be improvised, but they were trying to do what they did successfully for Kluivert's goal.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't quite work out, and then the ball came in, and he ghosted in. And usually, when Senesi goes into the far post, he usually ripples the back of the net, but it didn't happen. Do you notice him channeling his inner Tommy Elphick?
Oh, I suppose.
After he missed. But you know what? That was a superstition that usually resulted in Bournemouth scoring goals and winning. Well, only a few moments later, we did. And what was it with playing Brentford? I said this on the vlog. And short back passes. Because that's what happened last season.
The one where Brooks scored,
Tavernier managed to intercept it, put Brooks in. And then what I really admire about Evan Ilson, though, was just him anticipating a short back pass. You can even see,
you can see it.
Him running. Like, even before the ball's been played, he's making a run forward. He's not even looking at the ball. Yeah, he's just making the run, expecting, you know what, just in case he passes this back.
And live, I thought that he's just stood offside and they've played it to him without knowing. And then I've rewatched it back, obviously, and he goes in, doesn't he? So it kind of makes you feel a little bit sorry for the defender because he don't actually see him. I thought he's just playing an awful one. Obviously it wasn't great, but he snuck in. And I'll tell you what, that if he hadn't scored in the last couple of games like he has, he done round the keeper. No, that's a confident striker. Yeah, if you're a striker and you hadn't scored for ages, you hit that. And the fact that he had the confidence to round him, I mean, is he better than Don?
Is he? So look, we had total domination, 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so, where we had 66% possession, 5 chances. And of course, that goal scored. And I was so chuffed for him. He made it look really easy. Really
beautiful.
Easy.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. He just sat him down and just tapped it in. It was lovely.
But after that moment...
He's got 2 songs, by the way.
We
were giving 2 songs. I bet there's people like Steve Cook going, you are joking.
Lewis Cook.
He's got 2 songs. He's only been here 5 minutes, but he is Brazilian, and I think he's brilliant.
But then after that, it seemed like we sat back a little bit, and I don't know if it was something intentional. I mean, it came from from a long throw, didn't it? You know, one of the only moments that Brentford really got forward. I think naturally, you know, subconsciously, you want to keep your lead, and Brentford obviously just want to get back into it.
I think to their credit, they turned it up a notch.
Yeah, they did, and then a long throw came in, and I mean, it worked its way to Wissa at the far post, and nodded it in. Kepa was motionless, really, but then there was a lot of clamouring for something in the middle.
Yeah, we had a little VAR check.
Yeah, what was that? Was that a push or a foul?
I was looking at, originally, they were looking at handball, which it wasn't. But then they started looking as well as they tugged back on Adams. It is a bit, but I'm not going to be too biased here. I wouldn't want that to go the other way. I don't think it was enough to rule it out. So I think it's one of them again, though. If the ref had just happened to see a little bit of a tug and he had blown, I don't think it would have been overturned as a goal.
It felt like their first shot on target.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember him doing anything.
And it felt like really unjust.
It did at the time. Well, you just put the stats up there, mate, for the way we started. But that was definitely our best period in the game, from literally kick-off to the Vissa goal. Was our best period. Then they scored, and then I didn't think we looked as good for that remainder of the half. So I was really intrigued to see how we come out the second half. But I think I said to you at the break that my concern was, it's easy to say it now because obviously we lost the game, but my genuine concern was that we've played better than them here. They're only going to get better. It's 1-1. Like, we should be well ahead here. We should be not even one up. I was thinking we could be a couple up here. So frustrating. So it was always about how we start. And, it's a good start when I'm still drinking my beer and we're ahead.
Are you telling me that you weren't up in
goals.
The stands?
Missed 2 goals.
In the concourse. Well, look, Ryan Christie was in the thick of the action just before the corner, which he won, where the ball came over to him. I think it was Tyler Adams that put it across.
Do you think Christie just, because obviously this is both halves, it was Kluivert. I think this is both halves to talk about Christie. Does he just seem to, he wakes up quicker than everyone else, after, you know what I mean, before the game and at half time, he's just alert quicker. But yeah, it was a nice little move. Yeah, Kluivert tried to dink it over the back stick to him, and we got the corner, and then you think, well, that's probably going to be a goal.
Well, it is, and I don't know if it's Sean Cooper, I don't know if it's Sam May, Tommy Elphick, whoever's coming up with our set-piece routines. This one worked to an absolute T, and it was a really good move on the right-hand side where the ball made its way to Kluivert. Kluivert then fed Lewis Cook, and then he made his run towards goal. He let the ball sort of run across him a little bit so he could take it on his right foot. Another keeper that was beaten at the near post, criminal. I think the angle there...
Quite the same angle.
Yeah, he could have gone either side of him, really.
Yeah.
But really, really good finish. And scenes from the however many made it back up from the concourse.
There's quite a lot of scenes down below, actually.
Yeah, I bet there were, because they were showing a live feed of the game, weren't they? But yeah, Kluivert with the finish, and what a good goal it was.
Lovely.
It just shows that corners are now a really exciting thing. I think we've now scored a couple from corners this season. There was a stat going around we haven't scored in 40 corners. But we certainly have made up for it recently with some of our set pieces. I thought that was really well worked.
Yeah, it was. And it's, like you say, when you see them set piece stats, it's very rare that any of them are just crosses and headers, as you expect from a corner. They're well worked, they're clever. And it was really good. And I'm really pleased for Justin as well, because I think he's starting to get back to it, because just dipping into him a little bit, I think obviously he started this game out wide, which he doesn't always. And I thought he was good. I thought he was really, really good in that first period, that first kind of hour. Smart finish, because I think he's going to go across the keeper.
Yeah.
And he sees that 2 players slide.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get blocked. If you look, it's going to get blocked. So he quickly just uses it as a very, very good finish. He's got in the Netherlands squad again, so I'm really, really pleased for him. And and then I thought, here we go. They're going to have to come out. We're going to catch them on the break.
But
Happy days. Europe, here we come.
Well, they've had a few games where they've scored very, very early on.
I was celebrating in the
kickoff. Yeah, and they certainly did after a kickoff, albeit after the restart. And yeah, unfortunately, it worked its way to Damsgaard from an angle. Now, the fact that he was in that position with the ball, I mean, there's probably a few things to be looked at defensively here, because, Zabani came out and he was lost. I mean, when the ball found Damsgaard, Zabani was on the edge of the box, but Ryan Christie was back there. What was he doing back there? But that just shows that he runs everywhere. But then when it comes to Damsgaard, from that angle there, almost like, you won't know this one, Mark Hughes against Barcelona. Do you remember that one? That's the kind of angle we're talking about here. And we talk about how goalkeepers shouldn't get beaten in the near. I mean, look, Travers was against Brentford in the reverse fixture. but the angle was so much kinder to their striker.
I've seen people try to compare the Clivert goal.
And it was in the roof of the net as well.
Yeah, Clivert goal to that, because they're both near post.
But from there, I mean, that's
ridiculous. He never should score from there. That's ridiculous.
No, I mean, Senesi was sliding in as well, so maybe part of it's on Senesi, but I think ultimately it's down to the keeper. And look,
Kepa will know that, he should save that.
We're not the only people to criticise. I think Chris Temple, I think penny for Travis's thoughts was what he said on Twitter, which you can sort of understand. And yeah, Adam Smith obviously showed his displeasure at somehow us getting beaten at the near post. So within 21 seconds of us scoring, Brentford pull it back to 2-2. I mean, that is just so Bournemouth in there.
It is. And yeah, like I say, I missed our goal. I'll just pop the toilet and I'll head back up. And I was in the toilet and another roar. In my head, it was so close that I thought, oh, maybe it's gone to VAR and been disallowed, so they're cheering, because they're not allowed us. So I thought that sounds like a VAR.
Yeah.
And then obviously realised it was 2-2. But yeah, it's a disappointing one, mate. Yeah, obviously the build-up and the way they got through is not good enough. And then the goalkeeper's not good enough either. And unfortunately, I think I might have said this to you on the vlog, but when we saw the team lose, that I wasn't even, obviously I was gutted for Travers, but I was more like, God, I feel for Kepa now, because if he does anything wrong, people are going to go, well, why'd you drop our best player? You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a shame, but it was bad goalkeeping, unfortunately. And yeah, he knows he should save that.
And interestingly though, I mean, we have to sort of maybe dig into this, because when Travers made that perceived error in the equivalent game last season, he didn't play the next one.
Yeah, so we'll see what they... that's what I mean. I mentioned at the start that I think the main reason was Kepa was never dropped. He was injured. So Andoni's gone. He never was dropped, and now he's back fit. He starts. But if you make an error like that, like Travers did last season, as you said, Neto come in for, was it Chelsea the last game of the season?
Yeah.
Made 2 errors in that game. But yeah, Travers, if that was perceived an error, which people have told me, that Brentford at home, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad, but fine. Then he got left out for the next game. So I don't see Kepa being left out.
I think the frustration comes from the data that we're seeing as well. I said to Mark Jackson at half-time, that was a half of 2 halves. You can see that on the attacking momentum there. Bournemouth started off really well. Brentford, they ended really well. There were a few little flutters for Bournemouth. At the start of the second half, very much the same. But then from the moment that goal was scored, it seemed to dictate the mood. And Brentford's mood was certainly... they had a lot of impetus after that. And it's almost like we fell flat here. Fans were chanting Mark Travers' name, which is an odd one. I mean...
Yes, I know, but I still think it's over the top the other way.
Yeah.
People are saying how disrespectful it is. There's no way Kepa stood there at the other end going, I think that Status Quo song is the Mark Travers song. How disrespectful. I want to leave this... That's not happening.
Yeah.
He's been at Real Madrid, at Chelsea, at Spain. Do you really think he thinks, God, these Bournemouth ultras singing Super Mark Travers in goal is really hurting me?
And it's not necessarily the error as well. It's also just, Mark Travers is going to feel peeved. I think he was visibly peeved from some of the footage that you see. He's sort of wearing one of those scarf things, like Udi. Oh, no, it was something Lucy wears. I don't know.
No, you're thinking of a...
What's it?
No.
Things?
Oh, what's it
Udi?
called? No, it's not called an Udi.
Snuggle? Slanket?
No.
Jeggings? I don't know. What are they called? I hate when they merge two different ways of clothing.
But yeah, it's...
Snood.
But yeah, But... You know, trying to think of a good example here. So if David Brooks came on in the game, but if David Brooks in the first half, which happens a lot, particularly at home, just because he's got a chant, runs down the touchline, warming up,
chant his name.
Everyone goes, David, tap it in, don't go. They want Brooks on.
But then, is it different because obviously Travers is sat on the bench?
Well, so what? I don't know. When we sing Tommy Elphic's name, it doesn't mean we want Andoni out for Elphick. Just everyone calm down. Listen, it's not ideal, but what I would say is that if there's people that didn't... I know at that point it wasn't, but when the full-time whistle went, it was sang again. That's because they played Status Quo.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
So
Super Mark Travers.
So everyone would do that anyway. I would have done that if they'd done... I can't think of another example, but a song...
Well, Jefferson Lerma last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Season before last.
But yeah, I think that needs to be just like calm down a little bit. But it is weird though, because it reminds me that the first time I heard any only out chants was Brentford away. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it, how it seems to go off there.
And we were actually singing Gary O'Neill's name. Do you remember? Like, we were singing his name during the first half. Gary O'Neill, because Wolves were...
Oh, because they were beating the Scum.
Beating the Saints. By the way, I just need to talk about that. Saints, man. That was never, ever not a goal. It shouldn't have
No. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, but Gary Neal get all the decisions go against Wolves.
No, but come on.
No, they all go against Wolves.
Let's just put our neutral hat on for a minute.
Oh, it should have definitely been a goal, yeah.
It should have.
No.
I mean, and that's the thing, like consistency with VAR, there is none. I've said this before, two things that happen exactly the same on two different games, and then there'll be different outcomes. You might as well spin a wheel in public view, goal, no goal, like Wheel of Fortune.
They're all,
until it lands on one, and then that's it. It'd be more consistent to do that. They're trying to make it subjective to give the referee more power, but in a way,
it's hard to give refs power though, because you don't know what they're, you don't know what they're going to be saying when their mates behind a camera when they're pissed. So it's difficult to judge. No, joking aside, that was definitely should have counted, of course. But this is what I mean. Every single week, there's never been a week, and we've got VAR now. Never been a week where you watch match today and there isn't something ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's always. So, it didn't surprise me too much. Wolves got the rub of the green, and in fairness, they've had a lot go against them. So, it's a shame for Southampton. But yeah, I've seen now that Nathan Jones has got a better record than Russell Martin in the Prem. So, yeah, I'm sure. But Russell Martin, great, isn't he? He's a great manager. He'll keep him up. But, they look crap. Wolves look crap. So, it's good.
Can we just talk about that David Coote video, by the way? That's so bad.
I kind of feel for him. I know that sounds stupid, but everyone does things when...
I've said something to you. If you forwarded it on and we'd be cancelled. It's not they're just jokes, obviously.
Drop me a DM if you want to say anything. No, but yeah, everyone does that about any workplace, where, I don't know, a customer could come into a shop and then when they've left, you go, he was an arse. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, Jurgen Klopp probably is
Yeah, he probably is. I agree. But don't do it when there's a camera there. I don't know how much you trust that guy next to you, but there's a camera in your face. I mean, he's pissed.
That guy is never not going to send it on to one of his mates, and he'll say, please don't send this on, but people do.
And someone else would go, please don't send this on, but please don't send this on, but, and it just keeps going, doesn't it? But he'll be right. He's a cutie pie.
He's a cutie pie. But look, so Travers witnessing what he probably saw. I mean, it probably only serves to add another tick in his own cons list as to why he should stay at Bournemouth, really. Two unbelievable performances and then being replaced by someone that makes an error.
That's the thing, isn't it? I kind of said it, but that's the thing. It's not like he just come in and done well. That Villa, he got us a point. He was unbelievable.
But I mean, look, we're not saying that he's the finished product because I don't...
I'm not even saying he's a better goalkeeper than Kepa.
No.
Because on evidence, Kepa's a much better goalkeeper than Travers because he's played for Real Madrid.
But for his own drive and determination of, trying to keep the shirt, what does that say when you're excluded?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The person that comes in makes an error like that. I mean, look, he's been beaten at the near post 1,000 times, I'm sure.
Every goalkeeper's going to make a mistake. It frustrates me that we keep bringing in ones when we haven't really given Travers any sort of chance. And when he got the chance, obviously in the Championship, he took it with both hands all season long. So that's a little bit frustrating. And also, for a friend of the channel, just like to say that we were also unbeaten with Will Dennis on the bench. So maybe we miss him. Maybe he's a Neto. We need him in the dressing room.
Yeah, Ethan Laird, yeah.
Yeah, get him all in there.
And look, it's there was a tweet at full time where obviously as a fan channel, I've said this on the vlog outro, we're just trying to maybe portray what the fans are feeling at full time and what the conversations are on the concourse. And a lot of us were almost like, in hindsight, that didn't work. A few people took exception to it a little bit, but it's not scapegoating Kepa by any stretch of the magic. This is the conversation because there was a change that resulted in what happened. But there were others that were equally susceptible, if not more. I mean, there were some poor performances. I think really Senesi wasn't great.
Yeah, I was going to say then, I really like Howson, everything I've seen of Howson. But if Howson had started over Senesi, I'd have been doing the same thing. I'd be going, well, how's Senesi been left out for Howson after his performance against City? But yeah, listen, it was genuinely, it was a bad mistake. It's near post, but since he's come in, I felt so much more comfortable with Kepa. I like the way that I feel like, I was saying this to you off camera, that it feels like we could play a little bit higher because he is a sweeper keeper. He is comfortable with the ball at his feet. And I like Kepa. I was just gutted for Trav. So yeah, but I just wanted to kind of be like, bloody hell, bless Travs. And I would have thought that even if Kepa played well.
Yeah.
But the fact that he made an error just makes it more alarming and, which was a shame really. But, I don't think you'd be too disappointed if you're Andoni or the group because you kind of go, takes off most other things when something like that happens in a weird way.
Yeah.
But, because there were a lot of, as you mentioned there, Senesi had a really off day. even people like Kirkus, who wasn't bad, wasn't the levels. There was a
moment just after the goal where he got in a tussle with Collins, and everyone clamoured for a penalty, and some people say he's not the ball. I don't know. I think it was one of those 50-50 things. And like, we'll talk about the substitutions later because they were so ineffective. And I mean, worrying, really. I said on our thing that there's only a number of players who can really impact games for us, and the substitutes that we brought on were not them. It's got to be said. I'll tell you what I was really impressed by, mate, and also what I wasn't impressed by. I'll talk about what impressed me, and that was the whistle goal on 58. It was a really good move from them on the left-hand side. The dummy was brilliant. The continuation of the run, the through ball, and then the lovely dinked finish. I think Semenyo was the one that was maybe sold the dummy.
He got Semenyo.
But you probably would. He did get Semenyo.
That's normally what he does.
And what a great finish. And what I wasn't impressed by, it's not very noisy at the G-Tech. You would think that, like, that stadium acoustically favours noise being made because it carries it really well. But I thought they were really quiet. And look, we're not saying that we're an impeccable fan base at home, because there are times where we've been quiet. But I don't know, after your team comes back twice from behind and then goes on to win a game, you'd think there'd be a rapturous atmosphere. It really wasn't at all.
I can't remember a song.
I can't.
Not really. No, it was disappointing because I normally think it's all right there. So that's, strange, but it happens, done it a lot at home goes. Maybe we just, they were just so far away. But like you say, I thought you'd be able to hear them a bit more. But they took the lead, and it was a deserved lead at that point. They started getting the upper hand, and it was a nice finish from Visser, who was very, very good.
And after that moment, we never looked like we were going to come back into it, really.
No, we had the
very end.
We had the penalty shout that was funny, because you got to give me some credit.
I was fuming.
And everyone was fuming, and I went, that's not a pen.
I honestly, but you know what though? Stephen Warnock on Ref Watch said that he thought it was a penalty.
So how many points did I add, right? He tripped over his own feet.
I had 2 Guinness Zeros and an actual Guinness in the pub, right? But even still, Stephen Warnock on Ref Watch said that he thought it was a pen. Look at the arm there. Look at the arm. So the arm there pulls him back, that affects his run. And that's why he clips his... Am I just clutching at straws there?
Yep. If that's the other way, I'll be fuming. But we're 0-1 down that end against Brentford, to be fair.
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought he did kind of clip his own foot, which he did. Yeah, there was a little bit of a tug, as you say, but I don't think it was enough for a penalty, unfortunately. Then we didn't really, we huffed and puffed.
They had a chance, and Buemo blazed over, should have probably done better with it. And then after that moment, the substitutions were made. We're looking at the match timeline at the moment. I think he obviously needed to bring on a little bit more attacking impetus. Howson came on for Senesi, but it was Tav for Tyler Adams, who, like you say, had a good sort of 67 minutes or so. And you said this earlier, a minute after those changes, Ryan Christie.
Yeah.
But that's why it's good that like Tyler Adams has had some minutes. We also made some changes after that with David Brooks and Unal coming on for Cliver and Christie. But the changes, I thought, on the whole, were pretty ineffective.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think the changes kind of had to be made. I mean, Celestia was having a bad game, and he'd been booked. So, you got to remember that Howson did come on in that Everton game. You think it's not an attacking change, but sometimes, Celestia not having a great game, he's on a booking, can't commit as much. And Tav for Adams, I was surprised Adams got over an hour. He'd done really, really well, but you remember how long he's been out, and you got to give him that time. So he was always going to come off at that point, and Tav, good player to bring on, move Christie back. And then again, later on, you're just trying to push a little bit more. Cliver and Christie ran their race, and you bring him on. Unfortunately, it shows that just a few injuries, and we can't make the game-changing subs that we normally, and nearly always works. We can't do it because we haven't got the players, and I feel for them players. Brooks is not the same type of player as Justin Cliver. He hasn't got the legs. I am desperate for Brooks, because I love him and I really want to. I just don't think in the way we now play, it's going to work. And Unal, listen, I remember thinking that Dango would never be good enough, and now I'm missing him. So things can change very, very quickly, mate. And I really hope it does with Unal. But from what I saw when he come on, he was absolutely awful. I was really concerned because he come on and I thought, I'd rather have Keith Moore would have done more.
He was sort of playing in the number 10, was he?
I don't really know what he was doing.
Or was it like up front along with Evan Nilsson?
I mean, we know he's not quick. So, you can have a go at his pace and stuff. We know he's not quick, so it is what it is. His touch was bad. I mean, he didn't even win many headers. I think he got in the way of Howson for one that hit the bar.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He just had a really bad impact. And then you just try and mix it up at the end. And just, by the way, this just proves how far down the pecking order Billing is that he didn't even get a run out. But he obviously just changed the fullbacks to maybe just try and give us a bit more pace going forward. Araujo come on, wasn't very good, and then got a bad injury by the looks of it. He's on crutches.
He's... You know what? And he's a player that obviously we have met. And I don't know, it's just... He wasn't that effective at all, and he got caught out early doors by a run where they put it in front of him, and he just looked very flat-footed. And then obviously he pulled up with that injury. Hopefully it's not too bad. Apparently one fan saw him walking out on crutches or something, which ain't particularly great. But yeah, feel for him a little bit. But another one that really isn't quite showing what can be there for him. But look at these, this Opta expected goals, the way it plateaus out there. You can see a little spike at the end. That's where Unal had another header as well, where it was a low cross and he got something on it, but not enough. It went out for a corner. That one where, of course, like you say, hitting the bar. Yeah,
it's like kind of got in each other's way. But yeah, it like you say, you're always going to have, when there's one goal in it, they're going to just sit back then and we're going to have a bit of a flurry. But it wasn't like the keeper was testing much. But yeah, it literally all plateaued and all went downhill when we had subs, really. Which, yeah, when you look at it back, yeah, that makes sense. But
we did have 6 shots in the second half, 6 or 7 shots. But really, they must have all been blocked, though, because I don't feel as though the keeper was worked overly.
A lot of them were blocks. I remember the one that hit the bar, and then Semenyo tried to smash one at block. Yeah. They were getting their bodies in the way, and I thought that against Fulham as well. They defensively get their body in the way well. But yeah, just didn't happen for us, mate. It didn't really look like we were gonna get a late goal, even though we have got quite a lot of them, so you never know. Didn't feel like it was going to happen. And yeah, I think that top bottom of it is if Alex Scott, Dango Batara and Luis Sinisterra were fit, they all would have came on over the ones that come on, and that's probably the difference. But Dango maybe, but I can't see Cini by the sounds of it being back for the next game. Scott definitely won't be. We've now lost Christie, so I'm guessing some sort of youngsters have to come on the bench. But yeah, it just shows you, it's just a little bit of a thought of, we haven't had many injuries. We get a few and we're a bit ropey now. And that's probably more down to the fact that obviously something's not happening with Billing, because he's not like now an option, is he really? He mainly might have to be in the next one, because we've only got Adams and Cook available in midfield. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one, really, and see what happens. And will they look at that in January? Potentially, but it happens when you get a few injuries, mate, is what it is.
Yeah, Brentford's expected goals was 1.48, ours was 2.61. Probably enhanced by that Senesi one, which I think had a sort of 85, 86% conversion rate stat on Opta. But yeah, you can see there how we fared on screen if you're watching on YouTube. And look, I suppose, you know, the biggest compliment I can pay to Andoni is that even though we were 3-2 down, I turned around to Tiggs and said, I still think we can win this.
Yeah, because of it.
Because you feel as though you can.
Yeah.
I suppose history also leans into that as well slightly.
Yeah, I think the recent history and the evidence. I remember when we done it against Everton, that incredible comeback. And I remember Andoni saying afterwards, last season we were 3-0 down to Luton and we won 4-3 with loads of time to spare. Yeah. So once you've done it, you've got that belief you can do it. So yeah, it'd be weird if you're a Bournemouth fan and the run we've been on, the late goals we scored, to think it's over. Just didn't quite feel like it was happening as much. I think when it's also a pace factor. I think when their players are tiring, getting deeper and deeper. When you've got Cini and Dango running at them with their pace, you always feel like you've got a little bit more. But yeah, it didn't quite happen. And I think not enough people are talking about it for that Brighton game, which I know we got an international break. Having Christie out for a game is going to really hurt.
Yeah, and they looked good against Manchester City as well. That second half was absolutely...
Just don't think we have another player like Christie.
No.
And every time he comes off, it's so noticeable.
Who would have thought that we'd be saying...
I always said it.
Absolutely. So, look, it was an entertaining game. We learned quite a lot. One thing I'm not sure on going forward is how Adams and Cook, whether they'll be okay working together. Because, you know, there were times where it really was working. But then as the game sort of wore on, it sort of, I mean, I know that he got substituted and stuff, but I felt like Cook was less effective. But I thought Lewis Cook, by the way, I said in the fan cams afterwards that I thought he was sort of nullified at times. I actually look back at it and think, actually, he played a blinder at times.
I didn't know he thought that. Yeah, I thought he was our best player, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of them as well. I think it's kind of the first time we've done that with them three in that middle period. And, you know, Adams and Cook have got to kind of work out certain bits. You know, it took Cook and Christie a while, and then they kind of know how each other play. And I do wonder if a little bit of it as well is Cook done that role more because, you know, Adams hasn't been fit, so getting him to be a little bit more box to box would be dangerous. But yeah, I think it's something, and as Andoni always says, you never always just play your best 11. So I think it's something that can work, and we can integrate, we can rotate game to game. I think it's silly saying this because we've just beaten them, but when you're playing them big boys, maybe away from home more, maybe Adams gets you a little bit more solidity in there. So I think it could work. You've got to remember how long he's been out for, mate, as well. He's only going to get better.
Cook had the most number of touches in the game, as you can see there. He also had a very high number in the opposition half, also the final third as well. One of the things I would want to say about Tyler Adams, he's probably a player that's, and this is a compliment to him, the first player that's reminded me of Jefferson Lerma since Lerma left.
Yeah.
Because Cook, slightly different player, of course. He's tried to fill his boots, but I thought Adams sort of didn't do anything incredibly.
Yeah,
he doesn't stand out, but he just kept things ticking over really nicely. Yeah,
kept things ticking nicely, and he's got a bit of bite about him in the tackle and stuff. So yeah, and he's only going to get better the amount of time he's had out. So yeah, it's an exciting one, and you know, if he keeps getting better and better and fitter, he'll probably feel like a brand new signing, won't he? So yeah, I was pleased with him considering that period he's had out. Thought Evan Ilson was brilliant as well. Lewis Cook, they were the three for me, and obviously, Christie as well. I thought Christie lost the ball a few times when he done the start well, and I thought Tav looked decent when he came on. He put some good balls in the box. Apart from that, I thought everyone was a little bit below par. Yeah.
We haven't done this in a while. The man of the match and ratings based on statistics from who scored, mate. You can have the option of doing it for the whole game, or AFC Bournemouth, whatever you want.
Visser scored 2.
Okay. What about for Bournemouth? Who do you think's our best performer based on stats and everything you saw?
Evan Ilson.
Let's have a look there.
Might be Clive, but might be Cook. I'm going to go Evan Ilson.
It was Damsgaard, actually, but Visser scored very highly. Yeah, Damsgaard. But he scored as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course. But 8.5. And for us, you're right, Evan Ilson, 7.8. The only one not shown on the graphic, if you're watching on YouTube, is Araujo that got a 6.0.
Yeah, no, to be fair, their centre-half's putting some good blocks. You can see why they're high up there as well.
Senesi on 5.8.
Yeah, not ideal.
Some low-scoring players all round. You mentioned the fact that Tyler Adams is not going to be in the US men's national team, which probably does us a favour, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I got a little bit scared for 1 minute ago. He's not injured again, is he?
Yeah.
Because they've all seen a pick him. But Poch did come out and say he's an important player for us going forward. But he hasn't had much football, so you can look at other players, which is great for us. But yeah, we're gonna have a few away, mate. Brooksy, probably, which I think is good for him. I want Brooksy to go and play. Travers will get used to it, but he'll go away and sit on a different bench. Bless him. Christie Christie is not too bad because he can't play against Brighton anyway.
Yeah.
And then Zabadi, I'm always scared when he goes away. Always scared when Semenyo goes away.
He doesn't, I thought, so he doesn't play in the position he plays for Bournemouth for Ghana, does he?
No, he normally plays up front.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And Christie plays in a different position as well.
Ridiculous. Unfortunately, it's one of them things where Scotland, who obviously are crap at football, but they have...
Kenny, sorry. Don't listen to him.
Just get stats up if you want to see if they're good at football or not. But they are playing in the big boy Nations League, bless them.
Yeah.
But they are most stacked in central midfield. McTominay, I think, scored again last night for Napoli, by the way. But Napoli have got McTominay and Gilmour in the middle, by the way.
Yeah.
They got John McGinn.
Madness.
Sorry, they've got John McGinn, so they're quite stacked in there. So I think they put Christie White. And it's the same with Ghana. Semenyo, they don't really have a focal point up top, so they put him up front, but they've got Kudus. They got Ayew, so they got a few wide options, so it's a shame for him. But another one I want to see Clivett get some minutes for Holland. That'd be really, really nice to see him get in there. But yeah, as long as they all come back unscathed, mate, I'll be well happy.
So what we're thinking then, 11 games in, and we've seen the table early on. I've been quite pleased with the way things have developed. We've got more of an identity this season. We've got some real statement results, and now we're looking into the next set of games. Of course,
you're not going to do what I've told you never to do.
What?
I've told everyone, can we stop looking at fixtures again? Well, we could get a win there. It doesn't matter. We just beat City and Arsenal and lost to Leicester and Brentford. I'd say it every year. Don't I say it every year? Why do we look at it on paper? It never happens like that.
No, it doesn't.
So basically, what I'll tell you for a fact.
Right.
Till the turn of the year. We will lose one of Wolves and Ipswich, and we will win one of Tottenham and Man U, because that's Bournemouth and that's football, and that's why we like it.
We got Brighton at home, we know that. We got Wolves away. We want to maybe get the win there at least. That's the one that I would like.
It'll probably the win against Southampton will probably mean he's still been a job, though. To be fair, I was worried that they might get a new manager bounce, because I felt if they lost to Southampton, he would have got the boot. And Tottenham at home, Ipswich away. That's the two. I think we'll beat Tottenham and be like hello, and then go and lose at Ipswich.
Probably, yeah.
Lee Davis whipping balls in. And then we also got West Ham, United, Palace, Boxing Day, Fulham. Yeah, it's all right on paper, isn't it?
On paper, it's okay, but football is never played on paper, is it?
No.
So, yeah, I suppose we're happy with how we're starting. What do you want to see? What do you want to see? Do you think we'll strengthen in January at all or anything?
I don't know,
as long
really.
As you don't lose anyone, that's the main thing.
Yeah, of course. I think in January, as every manager says, it's always harder to do stuff, so people don't tend to do as much. I think what will be interesting is there's a few players that we obviously don't fancy, Max Aarons, Philip Billing, who will probably be going, I need to play football, and can we sort a loan out where, and even maybe Brooks, we sort a loan out where we pay a little bit and someone just to get them playing a little bit. But we'll also have the option of, okay, do we pull any of them back in January? So Fev, but more so Hammer-Traore is absolutely ripping it up, by the way, which I think is a win-win, because we either get our money back, which we paid a fair bit, or we get a good player back. So at the moment, with the form and the fact that he's clearly not fancied, we might as well have Hammer-Traore on the bench over Billing, really. So yeah, I don't think there'll be loads done, mate. But we might look, and it always depends on if you get a few more injuries. Will Scott be ready to go again? Or, and things. But yeah, I think we might do a little bit. But I think, as much as I always love to dream, I don't think we're going to be, when we hit January, I don't think we're going to think, if we strengthen that, we can get Europe. But equally, I don't think we're going to think we need to strengthen because we could go down.
Yeah, let's just stay.
I think we're not going to be in either, really. And we're currently 12th, and I think we'll probably be around that come January. So, which is quite happy, just chilling out in the Prem, mate. But yeah. Who knows? Maybe a little cheeky cup run in January would be nice.
There we go. That is it for a second look. Whether you've been listening to this or you've been watching on YouTube, just want to say thank you so much. It's time for me and Tom just to chill out for a bit now.
Go and watch
have a break.
England smash up the Greeks. What a game!
Yeah, they got Greece. Ireland, is it?
Yeah,
Are
maybe.
they playing Ireland again?
Maybe.
No one cares. Yeah. But you know what? It would have been nice if Lewis Cook would have been selected, but never mind. Maybe the next manager will see how valuable he can be to this England side. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much. Up the chairs.
Cheers, up chairs.
Come on.
Actually, there's been a few pullouts, hasn't there? Well, Royce got injured.
Okay.
Saka got injured.
So will he be in?
Could he?
Nah.
Could he? Replacing Royce, maybe?
Hey.